Sometimes we get the question, what's the difference between FedRAMP and ITAR? How are they related? So FedRAMP is all about how cloud systems need to be secured to serve federal agencies. ITAR is about who can access and share defense-related technologies. So that covers weapons, it covers defense systems, military-grade software, and related technical data. It applies to companies, universities, any individual that is dealing with defense-related technologies. All right, so what are the things that I consider when I'm thinking about ITAR? I have a little bit of experience doing this. I was serving a software company that had to disclose the encryption algorithms that were in their software that were going, off of US soil and being, deployed outside, right? So you could see where like an encryption algorithm could be used as, a weapon. So when I think about ITAR, I think first about data residency and storage. So ITAR controlled technical data needs to be on US soil. That means there's no backups or archives or mirrors that can sit outside of the US without State Department authorization, which is a lengthy process and it requires a lot of work to do that. So a lot of the public clouds replicate globally by default. So providers need to make sure that and prove that the data is like geofenced in US regions for ITAR specific data. Access controls, this is where you kind of have some bleed into FedRAMP, right? So only US persons, citizens, or lawful permanent residents can access ITAR data without explicit approval. So if that federal data is actually defense related, that's ITAR data. Companies need to have strong identity and access management controls and vetting. There's an HR verification process that's a lot more intricate than a standard one. So most of us do background checks. When it's federal, it's a lot more involved, and there's requirements to revet, things like that. And some of those controls exist in FedRAMP, right? So even remote system admins and support staff outside of the US could actually trigger violations. Here's the one that I have a lot of experience with, and that's the encryption and key management. So the data in transit and at rest needs to be encrypted, and you can see that also with the CMMC and the scoping. Keys need to be managed in the US, ideally by US persons only. There's no reliance on foreign-based key escrow or support services, from what I remember. So cloud provider contracts. So not all clouds are ITAR compliant. The big ones that you think of, Microsoft, Azure Government, AWS, Google, Assured Workloads, Oracle, those for sure have the ITAR supported environments. And so companies need to verify those SLAs and the boundary definitions, which again, a lot like FedRAMP and compliance attestation. So a lot of those companies need to have FedRAMP, and you'll see their ITAR certification as well. The software development and support, dev teams need to check if the source code, if the design docs or whatever it is, if that falls under ITAR, which is a fun process. Offshoring dev, QA, support that touches ITAR data could violate the law, and you need to ensure CI/CD pipelines and repositories are hosted on ITAR compliant environments, and third-party integrations, right? And all of this process and the legal aspects to ITAR, it's just really important that you make sure that you have a good understanding of what you're using, the components you're using. If you're using FedRAMP systems, a lot of this is going to be taken care of.